welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage. This is ET Now Special Daily Initiative, where MSMEs and entrepreneurs get center stage to voice their opinions and thoughts on every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight on the show, we're bringing you highlights of a panel discussion that my colleague Pooja Jain did in Kolkata, where culture meets capital was the theme of that panel discussion. And we had some of the biggest names and voices from that city joining us. Do take a look.
Now, as our country modernizes, our management methodology has truly metamorphosized as well. And in this spirit, we thought nobody would be more appropriate to deliver the welcome address than our valued partner, our trusted friend, the Executive Director of Leadership Management International, Ashok Tusu.
Thank you. It is a great pleasure to be here at this culture capital of India. It is people who matter at the end, whatever enterprise we are involved in. And human beings, their attitudes are governed by three principal things. One is their beliefs, the other is their convictions, and the third is group behavior. Calcutta has strong roots of culture of various kinds. It could be food, art, it could be the film, it could be the intelligentsia of this place. It could be revolutionary culture also, which is inherited. So there are many sources of culture which come into Calcutta. The world has moved from an agricultural to an industrial, to a services economy, to a digital economy now, and we must change, and we must lead. Old leadership was 60% controlling, monitoring, resource allocations, and that kind of things. But tomorrow's leadership, the 21st century leadership, needs to be able to catch a vision, align yourself towards that vision, and develop your people to be able to reach that vision which you have. At LMI, we have worked with over 4 million people worldwide. We have found immense potential in human beings, and this can be engaged in a huge manner. A new kind of leadership is needed if you have to engage in all your wealth of the culture you have with the human and the financial capital, and then only there will be a metamorphosis and change. Till the mindset changes, till you embrace the new, until you work towards that new in a purposeful manner, nothing will change. So thank you so much for a patient hearing, and we look forward now to the panel discussion.
So to kick things off, where I'd like to start is, and you know what, Sagar, we'll start with you here. Does Calcutta offer this sort of perfect trifecta of intellectual capital, right, human capital, and then financial capital that allows companies in the traditional space, in the traditional sector to flourish? Because every art form seems to reach new heights here, from the culinary, you know, and to the cuisine, to the literary, and there's really no end. Love your thoughts.
You know, when I walk into the best mall of a Bangalore or a Delhi, I go to the ground floor, I see a GKB Opticals, I see a Manyavar, I see a little shop, I move upstairs, I see Turtle, I move to the food court, I see a Made in China, I see a Wow Momo. And, you know, people say there's no action that happens in Calcutta. So, you know, I think we are a consumer-oriented country. We believe, you know, if we stop saying that, you know, there's no industry happening here, I think we need to shift gears. We need to reverse, and we need to think that, you know, we are a consumer country. We know what exactly we want. I mean, I come from the food business, and I feel that, you know, Calcutta is the food capital of the country. People here understand taste. I mean, if you talk about fashion, if you talk about culture, I think we really love our culture, and, you know, culture is bound to meet capital because it's bound to make business sense.
And Agnimitra, I'd love your thoughts there, right? So what have we accomplished and what's next was essentially what Sagar was mentioning. But at a ground level, what's made it possible? Is it access to raw materials? Is it skill development programs that preserve craftsmanship? What's unique to this city that's propelling where culture meets capital?
Yeah, I think, you know, what he said, that's of course there. Access to raw material, we are in a very strategic position where, you know, we are getting raw material from Bhagalpur, from the northeast, from Benares, and of course, you know, our own Fulia. So a variety of textiles, we have access to. Another very, very important thing in our business is, the labor, the kind of labor and skilled labor that we get. Almost like entire villages are into this profession, They are very, very skilled craftsmen. And as, we were talking that, families after families and from generations, they have been doing this.
Absolutely. I'd like to bring your viewpoint in here, sir. Are expectations different, knowing that a product is conceived, made, manufactured in Bengal?
Definitely. And I like to share some thoughts with the audience as far as the cultural capital that we have here in Calcutta and how we can make use of it. We need to ask ourselves whether the cultural capital can be actually converted into a financial capital. So I would say, have there been any examples of this before? And let's say we think about Germany. What comes to mind? I think what comes to mind is technology. In Germany, when they teach their children and their culture, their way of thinking is very rational, and they teach their children to be how much to be technically conscious. Italy and France, what comes to your mind? Art, handicraft, sensibilities. They turned this into their USP, and they built everything in their economy around this culture. We just have to nurture it. We need entrepreneurs who are going to use this wealth, use this raw material, and turn into a profitable business.
Well, Mainak, let's take a look at what Sir said through the investment lens, right? Of the startup proposals that you review and the term sheets that you eventually sign, what sort of representation do you see from traditional industry?
So venture capitalists as a breed often come from the school of thought that inefficiency is the biggest employer of humankind. So all our investments, our decisions are often driven by the lens of technology for impact. So be it any traditional industry, be it in the culinary, the fine arts, or healthcare, for example, there are tons of startups who are trying to solve age-old problems of, let's say, distribution, for example. There are startups who are working on the vernacular medium. So here in Calcutta, we have Hoi Choi, which is the vernacular medium of with Hotstar as a compatriot, right? So there are vernacular medium startups which are building ERPs in vernacular languages, which can probably solve a lot of back-end problems of traditional industries. So be it handicrafts. So like Craftsquilla is a very popular startup. There's Go Co-op who are working directly with producers and building a marketplace for them. So they work with around 70,000 producers and trying to work with around 1 million producers in a 5-year time frame. So for VCs, it's all about automation and the next-gen distribution while working on the consumption wave for us.
All right, and Sagar, building on that, does this city provide a platform that makes marketing or market-making initiatives possible? For example, Agnimitra has mentioned skill talent, but there's no shortage of unemployed skill talent, right? So what are the dynamics in play that connects these craftsmen and these artisans with opportunities that are viable from a business perspective?
So, positivity breeds positivity. You'll always go where you are appreciated. And in Calcutta, we really know how to appreciate talent. Like I said, success is infectious. You have one successful story and people take you like a role model. Today, if a Sachin has, motivated 1 billion kids to play cricket, so has a Saurav Ganguly, and rather to become larger leaders. I think I personally feel he's one of the best captains that India has ever produced. So, like I said, positivity breeds positivity. So, I think there's no dearth of talent. It's just that the appreciation, and it's giving them their value and giving them their due,
Time for a quick break here on Leaders of Tomorrow, but we'll continue bringing you some of the key takeaways and highlights of that panel discussion from Kolkata on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're continuing to bring you the highlights of a panel discussion that my colleague Pooja Jain did in Kolkata on the theme of where culture meets capital. Take a listen.
in the leather industry in particular, right? Are there certain government policies in play that have helped the sector get more organized? You know, Calcutta has always been the leather capital, but the amount of organization in this particular sector is what's been, you know, truly fascinating. So walk us through that.
Definitely, there is a big thrust to the leather industry from the government, principally because it employs a lot of people. And if anybody wants to become an entrepreneur in leather, it's a very nice industry and the right place to come. You can get land. Government has earmarked leather clusters where you can buy very cheap land. You can build factories. The MSME, which is here, does a lot for the industry. There's a lot of funds available to build a factory, and there is a lot of marketing assistance that is there. There is a lot of brand building fund that is available for the leather industry. And skill development, it's a big sector that the government is focusing a lot. Definitely, leather is the focus industry as far as government is concerned.
And what sort of interest do you see from this next generation when it comes to perhaps entering the family business in this sector?
That's not a nice question because I have 2 kids and it's very difficult to get them in the business.
What are the pros and cons? How do they weigh their options, for example?
First of all, I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not just enough to look at what others have achieved. I think you need to look inwards and see what you can achieve. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. So first of all, you have to look to your limitations. And after you've identified your limitations and you know how far you can take it, then you got to stick to it and really take it to the endest level.
And, you know, Agnimitra, I'd love to bring you in here. Do some of those principles apply to your line of work? And, you know, please share your thoughts on that.
No, like, you know, as I said that, you know, we have great opportunity regarding raw material and skilled labor and, you know, the kind of aesthetics that we have, you know, being born, fortunately, in this state. But I don't agree with Sagar that, you know, the opportunities are plenty in terms of marketing because we have thousands and thousands of artisans. We have millions of designers in this city. Almost every building has 2 to 3 designers. But you don't get to see, you know, that much of business happening in Calcutta, you know, that way. I mean, still I feel that people in Calcutta, they don't have that kind of money compared to Delhi and Mumbai. A lot of designers, a lot of models are shifting base to Delhi and Mumbai. Why? Because people over here, they don't have money to buy, you know, that kind of clothes. I feel we need more planning, more development, more infrastructure by the government. The government needs to come forward and probably take the artisans and the designers and the government together. And, you know, we have to form a group where the artisans produce that kind of stuff which is saleable in not only in India but also abroad.
You know, Mainak, what sort of business advice would you offer to an entrepreneur that may be facing some of the same challenges that Agnimitra is?
See, simply speaking, the biggest achievement of any individual's life is to really figure out what they want to do in their life, right? So be it in like traditional industry, if they can, the next generation, if they can really sort of, and I belong to that generation, if they can really figure out their skill set and apply that in be it traditional business or whatever business is. So that's what, as investors, that we are looking for. We have taken up the role to fuel that activity, right? And I represent a bunch of 70 angel investors who are here, born and brought up here, the 3rd generation, 4th generation entrepreneurs who are looking to fuel that activity. And we are not just investing here, we are just investing across the country. So it's also a case of East fueling the West.
Well, is this city a shared platform where, for example, manufacturers walk alongside merchants? And, you know, Sagar, I'd love your take on that first, and then Adhar, so I'd love to bring you in as well.
See, we are, I think it'll be unfair to, you know, compare a Calcutta to a Delhi or a Bombay. I think we are still in the progression stage, and I think we have to give time its due importance. And if you see India, there are not too many cities which will have businessmen owning IPL teams and which will have businessmen also running the headquarters from here. So I think the money definitely is there. It's just that Delhi and Bombay gets more of its due because I guess the opportunities have been there for a larger period of time. And I think now the eyeballs are shifting to a Calcutta, eyeballs gradually are shifting to a Chennai to an extent. I think we have to give time its due importance. If we talk about, the merchants as well as the manufacturers working on the same page, I think Calcutta has always been that way. I think you've had that platform. I think Agnimitra ma'am would be in a better position to say that, because in our kind of field, when we deal with food, I think whichever city we go to, we feel the manufacturer and the producer being there, because it's so diverse. I mean, food, India runs on food. That's what we say.
So when it comes to handicraft products, right, and the divide between consumers that are looking for the traditional version versus a modern spin on the traditional version.
Yeah. So the handicraft thing doesn't necessarily mean that it's very traditional, because the kind of clothes that I do is very, very Indo-Western. I do a lot of work with Madhubani painting, which is from, Madhuban district in Bihar. So I will give you a long gown or a long flared skirt with Madhubani painting, or maybe a blazer for him, which has Madhubani owls on it, So it need not be like, Madhubani painting means it's very traditional. And the kind of styles which designers are working on right now are this Indo-Western style, which can cater to something which is, everybody wants to wear something very Indo-Western right now.
And are you seeing some of those same urban sensibilities in your industry, sir?
Our industry is basically an OEM industry. And we produce, the bags that you see in Oxford Street, in London, or in the malls of Italy are probably made here in Calcutta. So our industry basically caters to these international brands, and we produce for them. So there is no domestic connect as such. And whatever the good branded shops of leathers that you see, they're actually a spin-off of what we have done for the foreign guys.
Well, Sagar, as you were building out your menu and, your enterprise, did you keep in mind those cultural nuances?
Definitely, you have to give people what they want. So you have to be very, very close to culture. In our case, we've actually Indianized momos, and that was a click for us. We started serving momos with the right Szechuan sauce along with the dhania patta sauce. That was the first form of innovation. Our momo burger, which is a moburg, is a modern version of a vada pav converted into a burger, where we stuff 2 pieces of fried momo between the burger breads. Again with the red sauce, the green dhania patta sauce, which is there, and mayonnaise with it. So I think we've really played with the menu. When we went into Delhi, we came up with tandoori momos and a baked momo au gratin, because people that really love cheesy food, they love their rich food. So, a baked au gratin is like a lasagna. So you have a layer of pan-fried momo, then white cream, noodles and cheese, and baked like a lasagna. Okay. In the mango festival, we had mango momos. Okay. So you have to give people what they want, and that's how you Indianize momos. Had we stuck to authentic Tibetan momos, I think I wouldn't have been sitting in this stage.
So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for question and answer. Your question, sir.
I actually had a question with respect to Sagar's comment and Agnimitra's comment. Sagar said that if you have good quality and good service, no one can stop you. But Agnimitra also mentioned that people in Calcutta in particular, they don't want to pay much for good products. So you have trouble selling to them. So if I have good quality and good services, but nobody wants to pay my price, so how should someone in the luxury sector survive?
That is what, you need to balance, the price in such a way that you give a fantastic design. The price is again very, very competitive, and you don't compromise with the finished product. That the end product is there, what you want. Your kind of style is there. You don't compromise with the style, with the finished product. But somewhere you have to kind of balance the MRP to survive. You really can't, give everything what you want. But then again, you can't compromise because your brand is also there.
I'd like to add here, maybe to an extent you're correct that Calcutta is not a very, very niche market. It's more of a mass or a one level above the mass market. But then I'll go with what Sir said, that you need to find your market. You need to produce here and sell. You have the whole country. You have the whole, the whole globe in front of you. And when you produce something which is niche or more to do with lifestyle, and with the advent of internet and online, I think you can actually go places. So I would take a leaf from that Calcutta maybe is the right place to produce and to build the manufacturing hub here, because A, the cost of living is cheaper compared to other cities. You have the mass, the human capital largely available. And I think people here are very emotional, one good employee can get you 10 good employees if you really take care of them. So that makes it up for Calcutta.
Sagar, I liked what you said about share wealth to make wealth. Can you elaborate a bit on that, please? I found that interesting.
If you are an entrepreneur and you really want to grow big, okay, you cannot say, I will keep the whole of it. It's not about how how big the share of the pie that you have. It's how big the pie goes. So whether you own 10% of a rupees 100 company or you own 10% of a rupees 1000 company, what's more important is that it's a rupees 1000 company. And you will only be able to build a kick-ass company or an organization when you have good people working with you. Now, when you have good people working with you, they need to grow with you, okay? Because if you only take the limelight and only if you grow, it doesn't happen. So you need to have a kick-ass team, and that will only stay with you if you learn to share wealth with them, okay? I mean, people need to get their due credit. They need to grow in your organization.
Completely out of time on this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you've enjoyed what this panel discussion was all about, or if you'd like to know which city we're heading to next, you can always email us at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. On social media, tweet at me at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET Now. You can also reach us on our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.